Hey guys, Neil here from Neon Black Reviews, and tonight I'm going to talk to you about Talk to Me. If you haven't seen this film yet, Talk to Me is a 2022 Australian supernatural horror film. The story centers around a group of teenagers slash young adults who are playing what they consider to be a game. They have this ceramic hand, looks just like the one on the Blu-ray cover here, and they set it down in front of them, and they grasp it like you were, shaking somebody's hand, and they say, "Talk to me." And when they see this, the spirit of a dead person appears in front of them, and then they say, "I let you in," and that spirit comes into their body, and they experience, all manner of weird and freaky things. But this game has rules that have to be followed. First of all, before they take hold of the hand, they have to light a candle that opens the door to the spirit world. And then they can only stay possessed by this spirit for 90 seconds. If they go over 90 seconds, then the spirit will want to stay, and of course, bad things will happen. And then once they release the hand, they have to blow out the candle to close that doorway to the spirit world. So since we're watching a horror film here, you know that these rules get broken. Yeah, we just know that from the beginning. Just as soon as they're introduced, that is what is about to happen, probably in the next few moments. And of course it does. So that's the basic idea behind this film. Again, these kids are playing, this game that is a lot more dangerous than what they believe it to be. And of course, they do find out just how dangerous this game is. Because once things, really begin to happen in this film, the events that are going on do have a personal connection between our main character, whose name is Mia, and like I said, the events that are going on in the film. There is a personal connection there that makes the story a little bit more relatable to the viewer, I think. So this just sat down and watched it earlier this evening. This was a rewatch for me. I've actually seen this film 4 or 5 times now, which is actually quite a lot considering that it's only a few years old. I usually don't watch newer films that many times, so that ought to tell you something, that I do actually enjoy this film. But one of the things that I think Talk to Me is it's a good example of what we get a lot of times in movies, especially newer horror films. And what I mean by that is that when you really think about it, there is nothing in this film that is overly original. It's all stuff that we've seen before. Now, some of you, if you've seen the film, you may be sitting there thinking, it's like, well, I don't know that I've ever seen a film, where they have to grab onto this ceramic hand. Well, yeah, you're probably right. I haven't seen every horror film, but I can't think of another film off the top of my head where, the object was a hand. But, when you think about it, though, if this film had been made, I don't know, 20 years ago, it wouldn't have been a ceramic hand, more than likely. It probably would have been a Ouija board. We had a lot of movies that came out, over the years on the dangers of using Ouija boards. But basically, this hand is just a cursed object. I mean, we've seen these in films, any number of times. So even though we may not have specifically seen, a ceramic hand, we have seen some other type of cursed object. So the idea, has, been done before. Make a horror film about some sort of, cursed object or something like that. And just basically everything, like the rules. I mean, we've had, even Gremlins had rules, right? You couldn't feed them after midnight and don't get them wet. And of course, those rules get broken. So that's the trope that goes along with it. Now, I don't really know, I had the same problem with Gremlins, to be honest with you. Feeding them after midnight. Is the time zone important? I mean, how does that work? Because, midnight occurs at a different hour depending on where you are in the world relative, to some other place. So, yeah, what is midnight? Are you talking about, Eastern time, Central time, whatever? or does it matter just for the time zone that you happen to have the Mogwai in? But it's the same thing here. What's up with the 90 seconds? I mean, is it really 90 seconds? I mean, what could have just as easily been 60 or 120, right? It's just a number they made up so that they'd have a rule that could get broken, and some things could happen in the film. But regardless, we've had films that have had rules that needed to be followed, and of course, that, like I said, it follows with the trope. Those rules are going to get broken. So the film really doesn't have anything in it that we haven't seen before. But that's not a bad thing. I don't hold that against films at all, because, I mean, there's a ton of films out there. When you take into consideration, TV shows, books, basically just stories in general. I mean, how hard is it to come up with something that is 100% unique and original, something that nobody else has done before? I mean, it's next to impossible. So if we expected every film that comes out to be that way, well, we wouldn't have very many films coming out anymore. I mean, that would just be the truth of it. So the fact that films, do rehash ideas that have been used, in other films that came out before, I don't have a problem with that. The only thing I really want is a film that is well done and that is enjoyable to watch. And that's exactly what Talk to Me is. I really do enjoy this film. I like the way that it is executed. It's got some really atmospheric moments when it needs to have those moments. It has some very graphic scenes when it needs them, but it's not gratuitous. It's not what I would consider to be an overly graphic film. But it does go there a few times, like I said, when it needs to. It really adds to the effectiveness of the film, I think. And the story is good, but it does one thing to kind of set itself apart too. These spirits are the spirits of dead people, and they possess these kids while they're playing this game. Well, that in and of itself kind of breaks the rules of supernatural horror, doesn't it? I mean, I know these rules are not written down, and there's the rule police that come and arrest you if you don't follow these rules. But generally speaking, when it comes to supernatural films in general, the possession of a human being can only be done by a demon. That's one of the things that we learned in The Conjuring, right? Even though I think The Conjuring broke that rule, didn't they? Because, the mother in The Conjuring was possessed by the spirit of a witch, right? She wasn't a demon. But anyway, we do have this, this rule that, generally speaking in horror, it's only demons that possess people. But here we have the spirits of dead people, ghosts, that are possessing people. So it does kind of, that has been done before, but again, it's something that we don't see very often. So what Talk to Me has done is it's taken, things that we've seen before and put them together in a way that, even when I was watching it, for the second and third time and, knew what was going to happen, I'm like, I have seen all of this stuff before, but they're putting it together in such a way that even on a rewatch, it still feels like it's fresh, like it is something that you haven't quite seen before. And in that regard, it kind of is. I don't know that I've ever seen all of these elements put together in quite this combination. So that may be, something that is rather unique or at least uncommon. But it is a very enjoyable film to watch. It's very effective in the way that it's executed. The acting is good. And I do like this story. The personal connection between our main character, Mia, and the events of the film, I think, really added a lot to it. It made it a lot more interesting than if it had just been, all of this stuff is happening because somebody is possessed by some random evil ghost. There's a little bit more to the story that makes it more interesting to watch. So overall, I think Talk to Me is just a really good, really well done film. Even though it's not, it still makes you feel like it's something, fresh, something new. Even on a rewatch, it still kind of feels that way to me. If there's anything negative that I could really say about the film, and it's only minor because I ended up enjoying the film anyway, even though I usually don't when this happens, I didn't like any of the characters. Yeah. Now, some more than others, but at the end of the day, when the film was over and I thought about it for a little while, because I mean, with Mia, I had to debate myself a little bit. It's like, did I actually not like her? I mean, can you really not like this girl? And I finally decided, yeah, I didn't really care for her all that much, although she is probably the most likable character in the film. The rest of them, I really didn't care for, really at all, to be honest with you, except for maybe her best friend's brother. Yeah, he wasn't as bad either. But yeah, the rest of them just didn't care for them all that much. And like I said, usually if I can't get behind the characters in a film, yeah, I just don't like the movie. Because, I mean, that's most of the experience, most of the time. But here, I think the film is just so well done that it makes you not even think about the fact that that you don't really like this person. I won't say that I didn't care what happened to him. It wasn't that bad. But in general, yeah, I just didn't really like any of the characters. But like I said, that's only a minor issue with the film because of the fact that I enjoyed it so much. So that's my thoughts on Talk to Me. If you have yet to see the film, then I recommend that you put it on your watch list. I think you'll have a great time with it, just like I did. And if you have seen the film, drop me a comment down there. Let me know what you thought about the film. I always like to hear what you guys have to say. And if there's anything else you want to, put down there in a comment, go ahead and do that as well. I enjoy reading all of your comments, and I always do my best to respond. So, yeah, just drop me a comment and let me know what you think. But other than that, that's my thoughts on Talk to Me. If you would give the video a like, that really does help it out here on YouTube, and I appreciate you doing that for me. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button. I'd love to have you on board, and be sure to click the notification bell and turn on those notifications, and that way you'll never miss a review. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, and until next time, we'll see you.